Hey guys, it's Emily. Welcome everyone! On this video, I visit the boyhood town of President Ronald Reagan, Dixon, Illinois. I'm going to see his boyhood home, and then take a look at the downtown area and the riverfront. Gonna be a busy day. Let's go! I'm on my way to the Ronald Reagan Boyhood home. Reagan lived in this house from 1920 to 1923. This home is on 816 South Hennepin Avenue and welcomes visitors from April to October. This marker mentions Hennepin Avenue was often walked by Reagan while he lived in this house. The street is also known as Reagan Way and is a historical landmark. This house was built in 1891 and its architecture was typical for the turn of the 20th century homes. I'm getting ready to take a tour of the inside of the house. The house was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1982. This marker says Reagan and his family moved into this house when Reagan was 9 years old in December 1920. Reagan attended school just 4 blocks north at Southside School. The sculpture was placed here in 1988. A gift from the CEO of Arthur Daniels Midland Company. Reagan is admiring a handful of corn kernels. The marker mentioned Illinois is famous for its production of agriculture, and that's why Reagan is looking at those corn kernels. I can't see the corn kernels from this angle. The statue is 10 feet tall, including the pedestal, but it's a nice statue. It's now my reserved time to take a tour inside the Reagan home. Next door is the visitor center, where I'll meet the gentleman conducting the tour of the Reagan home.
Principal's office a few times.
Oh, really?
And he became quite a figure in my whole life. He's gone now, but B.J. Fraser. As a young man, he came to our high school, and he was one of those teachers.
Brought into this home. When the Reagan family moved in 1920, they had gas, they had electricity, they had running water, so they had all of the amenities that we have today. Nellie Reagan decided in December 6, 1920, this room would be a spare bedroom only. None of her boys would sleep in here. Nobody from the Reagan family slept in here. And I don't know why she picked the only bedroom upstairs for her and her husband to sleep in. It does not have a closet, but they did. I don't know why they didn't pick this one and leave that one for the spare bedroom. Who knows? Nellie Reagan was a very solid, devout Christian woman, and she needed to have an ace up her sleeve because she married her husband was an alcoholic. He would go on binge drinkings. In other words, if he got emotionally upset, he would take the family car and he would leave and never come home for 3, 4, 5 days. And he would never let you know when he's coming home either. He and his wife Nancy, our first lady, and his brother Moon are all sitting on the bed that they grew up in. And it's right in that bedroom you're walking into. Ronald Reagan was our first guest. We finished this house February 3rd, 1984. The Reagans walked in here February 6th, 1983. Early. We even had sweatshops. We had kids at 10 years old making shoes in shoe factories. And it's just the way it was in America in 1910, 1920. And so we invented a thing called knicker pants. And knicker pants, if a boy was wearing knickers, that meant he was a boy, not a man. That is an erector set on the bed. Boys would have been playing with erector sets. And marbles was a big deal when they were growing up, so they had a nice 6 years old. They rented a home in Galesburg, Illinois, and the little boy who lived there before had left his entire collection of eggshells and bird's nests and butterflies and all kinds of little critters under. And so Reagan adopted that at 6, and he added to it. He added so much to it that while they were living at this, it took them half a day to get it up there. And that's where Reagan had all of his eggs and bird nests and displayed them, had names and everything on them, really nice and neat. That's the kind of kid he was. Okay, let's see here. The boys look down at the creek going into, and therefore it is a true watershed closet. That was the first name we Americans gave the bathroom. Finally, we got to the word bathroom, but the outdoor shed has now come indoors, and we stole the closet and turned it into the bathroom. So that was why it was called a watershed closet.
Oh, my stars.
Being a closet, the drawer would have opened out into the hallway. We moved the door for touring purposes in there and viewing purposes so that you can see it. It never closed with the sink being there. But when the boys lived here, that door actually opened out. Ladies in Dixon, when they were little girls, guess who their Sunday school teacher was? Nellie Reagan. So that's why they made the quilt and they gave it to us. And that's why we have it on Nellie's bed. Nellie also had a Bible. This is her best friend's Bible from Dixon, Illinois. The two of them used to study together, and her best friend gave us her Bible because Nellie's Bible was going to be unavailable to us. It is in the She circled it and she wrote my favorite verse right on the page. That's how we knew it. I'm going to quote it to you. This is God speaking to the Jewish people. It said, "If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves, pray, seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, I will hear from heaven, I will forgive their sins, and I will heal their land." Just inside the door. There you go. Funeral parlor came from the room, the parlor room in the homes. A lot of living and dying happened in those homes. They even had births in the homes. We didn't take the mother to the hospital. They had their children right in the home. So when Nellie Reagan would paddle their little butts if they set foot in this room. Nellie Reagan wanted to keep this room pristine clean because at any time some woman might come over with a marital problem and they would have to do what Nellie Reagan did in this front room that made Ronald Reagan the great president that he was. She got a job, and this girl never had a high school education, folks. She had an elocution course because he was not a gentleman to his wife that day. The first lady was left in the dust. Ronald Reagan wanted to set foot in this room that he never got to set foot in as a child because there was something very special in this room that he was looking for. President Reagan threw off his hat and his coat. Didn't help Nancy Reagan with her hat, coat, gloves. It was 20 below zero outside, February 6th. And Ronnie and two of his friends come trouncing into this room he was never set foot in. Reagan dropped down to one. And the guy said, "Well, Mr. President, they just gave you the keys on the front porch of the home. I'd say this home is your home." "Yeah, go ahead, take it." You ripped off our time. What you would do in here is you fought for that chair. The boys hated the couch, so nobody wanted to sit on the couch. Dad always sat there. Mom always sat there. That curtains is in the wrong place. Moon told us it sat right here in the middle of the room. We moved in. We had popcorn almost every night. Nellie Reagan would pop popcorn for her children. So we had this whole room. Ronald Reagan also went over and sniffed that couch, and he looked at our curator. He said, "That couch doesn't smell like stinky couch." And the guy started laughing. He goes, "Well, what's wrong? What do you suppose is wrong with it? Is it just a look?" And the curator said, "Nope, that has steel springs in it." And Reagan laughed and he goes, "That's why it doesn't smell like stinky couch." Ours was made with horsehair, and that's why we didn't like that couch. It just had a weird smell to it. Okay, that Jack needed a reading lamp. He needed reading glasses. He was also a chain smoker. That's why we have a bag of tobacco and we have matches for him. And we're missing the papers. The rolling papers, because they rolled their own cigarettes in his days. Okay, to hit it or catch it. And so he just grew to hate baseball and like football. He loved football. Okay, let's see, anything else? Oh, that painting. Yes, the paintings and all the paintings in here are not historically correct. Nellie Reagan would have had a between them. There you wonder why tornadoes didn't tear down Montgomery wood zones. Pretty hard to tear down a double wall right up the center of the house. The other thing is I want you to draw your attention to that chains and that little switch that says open, close, and check. That is the very first stuff that you brought. The chef Bryce says, I see you brought them. We want to eat off of these because it looks just like when we were kids. And both boys went to the very same chairs that mom and dad would have had them sit in. So you know they were feeling like 9 and 12 years old again. Moon went there. President Reagan went to this chair. Nancy Reagan sat there for lunch. Moon's wife was ill that day, or she would have been sitting here. Nobody sat here. If you looked out the window on February 6, 1984, the ground was covered in snow, 20 below zero out, and there would have been a house right where that first planter started. And so he had next door neighbors real close here. The Secret Service was extremely worried about the next door neighbors, and they were also worried about all those attic windows of all the neighbors set of silverware. The second item is a miniature spoon is missing for this item right here. What is this item?
Is it butter?
No.
Salt.
Salt. This is your salt. They didn't have shakers. They would put salt in here, and if you were poor, you would use your index finger and your thumb, grab a pinch of salt, and squirt it on your food. Collector's items. In every truck stop, they sold to 50 states. You remember the 50 states would be printed on the handles of them? Yep. Every woman collected all 50 states of those small spoons, and sure enough, those are sold. Okay, this is, anybody want to know about the china? This is the most collected china, antique china in America, because it is the most plentiful. This pattern is, we got a ton of it. The lady that donated this to us, her name was Esther Barton, and she was the 5th grade principal. Tea company, Jewel Tea is Jewel Foods, Jewel Lasco, they're still in business today in Chicagoland area. And you would collect green stamps to get these. And you, tell us a little bit more about the collection here. What did it mean to your mother? You know, did it have any special meaning? Is it from Ireland? Is it from where the Reagans are from? Or how old is it? How old was it? And all that stuff. And Ronnie says, oh, there's nothing that fancy, boys. He says, upstairs my mom sewed. Downstairs she taught the elocution for the men's business college. At our church, she was asked to sing at almost every wedding and every funeral. She had a beautiful singing voice as well. And she goes, if my mother did any one of those 3 jobs for whoever she was working for at the time, and she found out they were poorer than us, and then Reagan laughed and he goes, and Moon and I didn't know we were poor because our parents hid that fact from us, that they were struggling financially. Bedroom upstairs, and the boys were very thankful to each other. Okay, the Navy chef cooked for the president that day. You want to know how? It's the last form of transportation that he uses from our military. Ronald Reagan landed at Air Force One at Rockford, Illinois Airport. He got on Marine One helicopter and a helicopter to Charles Walgreen Field in Dixon, Illinois, our airport. He got on his limousine Navy, the people that cart the Marines, get them around to wherever they got to go. So the Navy was picked to do the cooking that day. The Navy chef, Ronald Reagan forgot one time, Nellie Reagan made him mop the entire kitchen floor and the dry goods room as well, which meant he had to drag everything out of that room to get that floor mopped. Took him 2.5 hours. He never forgot again. He remembered it. Now, how do you get the ice? In your dining room window, ours has one, has an ice sign. You turn up what number, how many pounds you want him to give you that day, and he will walk right in your unlocked back door. He will set the ice right in your refrigerator for you. That sounds really nice, doesn't it? The guy will come in, and he will have his way. He will take whatever he wants from you. He will tie you up, gag you, put you in the bathtub, and a lot of women became victims of crime. So their shop, she has a fender that is trying to fall off, and we're trying to get that fixed. The kids named her Bessie. Here, the grade school kids gave her a name Bessie. But Bessie will be back hopefully shortly. The statue was given to us in 1988, so we bought that house that those people were rudely treated in by the Secret Service. We toured architects to design the whole part. Beware of those free gifts. They come with a very big price tag. Anyway.
A few blocks away is the downtown area in Riverwalk. I'll start at the Dixon Archway, and over here is the sculpture. The sculpture is the Wings of Peace and Freedom. It was sculpted by Nick Taney, who immigrated from Bulgaria, and it was his way to express thanks for Reagan's role in ending the Cold War. Taney wanted to give it to the city of Dixon for producing, as he says, a courageous and strong leader. Right behind that sculpture is a piece of the Berlin Wall. This is a reminder how those living in communism want to live in freedom. This marker shows part of the famous speech Ronald Reagan made at the Brandenburg Gate. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. The backside of the wall, representing a person on the East Germany side of the wall, wanting to be free on the West Germany side. This is a very powerful park in downtown Dixon. I would recommend taking time to visit if your travels take you to the city. Now along the riverfront in Dixon, this marker describes a bronze statue titled "Begins the Trail," created by Don L. Reed. It shows Ronald Reagan as a young man riding a Palomino horse. And here is the sculpture. This sculpture is the centerpiece of the Heritage Crossing Riverfront Plaza. It's where Hennepin Avenue ends at the river. Now I'm on the other side of the Rock River. This is called President's Park. In this park is a statue of Abraham Lincoln as how he looked as a 23-year-old soldier in 1832. I forgot to mention earlier that Dixon is a city along the Lincoln Highway. This marker describes Lincoln's service as captain in the Black Hawk War. It also shows that those that helped create the memorial, including the sculptor Leonard Cornell. On the back of the sculpture shows the city's founder, John Dixon, and some buildings when the town was known as Fort Dixon in 1830 and 1832. This is the Rock River, looking at the downtown area and riverfront area I was just at. This is a lovely day in northwestern Illinois, and a really nice stop along the Lincoln Highway. I had a great visit to Dixon. This was my second visit here. On my first visit, I also saw Ronald Reagan's birthplace in Tampico, which was about 40 minutes from here. One of my first YouTube videos on my channel shows my visit to Tampico in 2018. Please check it out. And that's it for this visit to Dixon, Illinois. Stay tuned for more of my Midwest trip coming soon. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye!